on that sorting of that history.
Is there any way to view times when an action has been taken?
Not that I know of, no. No,
Okay.
it might be something they're bringing out in the next next update, but as you can see on these, it's just this has all happened obviously in that particular day, so that's what it comes up with. I don't think. I suppose it depends on how many, how much action's happening on one record, on how much detail you need. You know, if you do need it in times, and then how often. You know, is it every minute or every 30 minutes, that sort of thing. Let me check up on it and see what we can do on that.
Thank you.
Okay. Where were we? Okay. The history menu. Yep. And the other one that's used reasonably regularly is the attachment menu. And the main thing I wanted to point out is the difference, I suppose, between the attach menu and the document menu. The attach menu is more for attaching scans or JPEGs or images, that sort of thing, maybe things to support, like in training, in the training module you might want to attach different certificates that people might have done that are scanned in. You can attach a document to there as well, but the main thing with the attachment is if that original document is changed, it's not updated. So it won't update this particular document. It's just sitting there external to FastTrack, the original document is. So it's as simple as just clicking on the add and then going to the browse button and finding where that particular document that you want to attach is sitting, and I might attach this one, and then we do click on attach, and that confirms that this has been uploaded, and then we close that window, and then we OK that window to confirm that that is attaching that particular document to that particular record. Okay, so that's the attachment process, as opposed to the document process is linking a particular document to that record and to that document as well. So this is where we look up what library is that document sitting in, and so we're in the policies library, so that will bring up all the documents sitting in that particular policies library. We click on any one of those and we can add that to that particular record. Now if this original document that I've just added, if it's changed, if the original document has changed, that will automatically update that link. So that means that document will always be updated and be the most current. I'll just click on OK there. So that's the main difference between documents and attachments, is the attachments aren't updated, they're just sitting there as a foreign document, I suppose, but still attached to FastTrack, whereas under documents it's an actual link, and if the original document is updated, it then updates that link as well. Now we talked about removing of an item on the process menu before as well, this remove entry. That's what we'll do now, is remove this actual attachment that I just put on. The main thing we want to look for before we do remove an attachment is we want to note down this trans ID number. We will need that, so it's 17026. 17026. So it's as easy as remove, and what is it? It's an attachment. There's only a few that we've got to choose from, an attachment, history or schedule. And the trans ID is 17026. And we click OK. And we can look back down on the lower process menu again, and we're clicking on attachment, and we did have 2 attachments, and now we've got 1 left. So that's a way of just removing stuff that aren't really needed any further. And that can be applied to a history. I don't know why you'd ever want to remove a history. I mean, that's there for a certain purpose, I should say. But you can remove a history item or an attachment or anything related as well. And the related is really, as it's suggested, anything that's happening within this record, within this document, is highlighted down there. Any changes, if you're adding it to a particular index, if you're adding it to a particular topic, if there are any changes, it's all about in that related. Now you can relate certain aspects to this this particular document as well. And that could be through any aspect of Fast Track that you want to relate a particular item to this particular record. Also, you can link, and that's very similar to linking a document, is relinking anything that's related to this particular record as well. Pretty similar process as we went through before. The actions is more meant for other modules. For example, it's used quite often within the compliance module. And for example, if you were within audits and an audit was carried out, and after the audit was finished, you realize that you need to generate some corrective actions. Well, that would then go into action and then add an action, and then it brings up the choices that you want to add. So you want to add a car, and what that does, it brings up the car screen straight away, so you can fill that out immediately to create that corrective action, which is related directly to this particular audit. The action is not used as much in documents, as I say, more for other modules. But if that's something you want to generate something to add an action to that particular document, well, that's where you can do it. All right, back to the lower process menu. And the last one along here is the schedules. And really this is for if you want this document reviewed in 6 months or 12 months or 2 years or whatever, you then put a schedule on that, and it will remind you that this document is coming up for review in set amount of time. As I say, in 3 years' time, it will remind you 30 days beforehand. Okay, this is up for review. So that's quite a handy one if you're doing that sort of processing on each document, say for standard operating procedures, SOPs and things like that.
Peter, it's Justine here.
Hey, Justine.
Hi. Just with the scheduling.
Yep.
You sent an email through about it, but can we set up in the system that every document has the same schedule, so 3 years from when it was created?
You can, yes. Yep, that was in that email that I sent you, Justine. Did you get that one on?
Okay.
And that.
I did. I just didn't quite understand if you could do it as a system thing or you had to do it each document that you put in.
Okay, well that brings up an important point, and I'll go into that now. It's not really system-wide. It's more, let me bring that up. I'm going into the admin and the setup menu. This is what we looked at before. And I'm going then into what's called issue profile. Now, issue profile is like a template that we use in Fast Track. And it's a template on all the drop-down menus, different instructions, special instructions. On that particular issue profile is what we want to happen whenever we use that issue profile. And this one is quite relevant to, well, it is relevant to documents, and in particular, internal documents. And what you can do, and what we did with Justine's case, is we put special instructions down below here to say every document that's created using this issue profile will have a schedule that's created in 3 years' time. And that happens on every document created within that issue profile. And all the internal documents use that issue profile all the way through. So that means every internal document will always have a 3-year schedule that is depending on the setup, and that's, will we go into that now? We're running out of time, but for example, the standard setup is it notifies you within 30 days before that review is due to occur. Now you can apply that to each library, but that's a different process all over again. This is applying it to this particular issue profile. Did that help, Justine?
Yeah, thanks.
Yep.
Yes,
It takes a bit of just continuous exposure to these processes, I suppose, that we use within FastTrack. But that's a big one, is the issue profile is really the templates, how that screen interacts with itself, really. And we have all these different features within this issue profile, within this template, that you can change. Say the administrator can change. And this is a certain drop-down menu that you can then change the description, or you can add or take things out of here. There's also class codes, and you can change these around as well. And I'll show you where this appears when we bring up the document or the record information. This is controlling these particular drop-down menus. Now, I went into this question mark before, and I'd already changed it. And up here, we talked about changing the particular records per screen, but also we can change the particular modes that FastTrack's in. The standard mode that FastTrack is in is the run mode. What we do is we change that to the AUD mode, and I'll show you what brings up on the screen when you change to AUD mode. We'll just refresh the screen, going back into DocInfo. It brings up all this information, which is quite relevant to us if we're wanting to know particular information. But the more information that you want to know about is if you highlight your mouse over the particular words, it tells you what's happening in the background. A lot of times these are customized. These words are particular. This is a description of the field that you can stipulate. I want it called this, or I want it called that. And you don't know what the actual field underneath is called. So this one is pretty straightforward. This is called the class code because it hasn't been changed. And what you can do is you can change any of these drop-down menus within that class code. And that's what we do through the admin and the setup. And we go into this class code here. And if we wanted to change any of these descriptions, we click on Open. And this is where we can change commercial and confidence to, let's call it just -8 for whatever reason. Might be certain coding on there you want to put in. So this is set up customized to your needs initially, but they do change, and this is the sort of thing that you can change on an ongoing basis if so required. So I click out of that, and then we want to refresh that screen and back into DocInfo, and this is a class code we changed, and there it is, commercial in confidence -8, and that can be applied to the assess drop-down menu as well, and also priority, which doesn't occur on that particular screen. But if you're wondering what those fields are and it's not quite obvious, you just put your mouse over there and it will tell you what the name of the field is behind the scenes, and you can change that accordingly. Now, we don't have a real lot of time to get into it in too much depth, and but I will just go over it just very quickly on how we manage the emails in the background and how we manage the calendar entries as well. We talked about last week on the workflow, and I see this as an absolute crucial aspect of getting everyone in the habit of, especially within documents or any part of any other module, is what is the workflow that we're following through? What is the process? And whenever we're changing a workflow status or workflow step, it's governed by this particular next date. This is the most crucial part of this screen, is this next date. And what this is saying is I want this particular action finished by that particular date. If I click on it, I can always change it. See, I might think, oh no, I'll give this person a little bit more time to finish that particular action, and that's fine. You can change that. Instead of having it 7 days, we've now added quite a few more days to it. We're giving them, say, 11 days to finish it. So we OK that. Oh, something I did forget to mention at that point as well, let me bring that back up again, is this is also a crucial thing to update on who do I want to notify about this. Obviously the person that you're referring this document on, you want to put that person in, but do I want to notify anyone else? That's where you put in the who to do. Now we go back into admin and then setup. This is back into this window again. And just a quick introduction is how those dates are generated. That next date on that window was generated to be the 27th. So that was step number 3, the refer step. And here we only ever use these major days. And this is what we put on as purely guidelines really. And we've got 7 days we're allowing for that step. And that will generate that 27th. But I changed it to the 31st. You can change it to whatever. It's just a guideline. But that's where it picks up the numbers to generate that next step. And that's the first step. That adds it to a calendar to say, okay, this is due at this particular time, on this particular date. We also check to see if there's a yes or a no in this particular window. What that's saying is, yes, I do want a calendar entry made at this particular point. At these points, the check out, check in, no calendar entries are being made, so therefore the next step is therefore no emails are going to be sent out that step. So it's starting the step. It's not completing the step, it's starting the step to say it's entering a calendar entry. The next step, what we look for is the diary interface. So this diary interface looks at the calendar and say, has there been an entry made in the calendar? Yes. All right, I'll then start the process on generating an email about that particular step. And we were looking at step 3 here, and what it's saying is the notify days, it's 0. It's saying I want to send out an email as soon as that's created. I'm saying it's immediate. The reminder days is it's saying send out a reminder 1 day before that next date. So that next date was on the 31st, so a reminder email will go out on the 30th to say, okay, this is due tomorrow, you better get onto it. There's also an email sent out on the actual due date. So on the 31st, an email goes out to say, okay, this action is due today. And then it goes on to the escalation process. Stipulated here is 7 days overdue. And what that means is 7 days after that due date, and this is why this due date becomes so crucial, everything centers around that due date. 7 days, so on the 7th of January, the due date was the 31st. On the 7th of January, an email will go out to the person to say, this is now outstanding, and it will also go out to that person's boss to say, this action has been 7 days outstanding. Something needs to be done. It then goes to another 7-day cycle, so that's 14 days after the due date. So therefore, say on the 14th of January, it goes out to the person to say, this is now 14 days overdue, and it goes out to the person's boss to say it's now 14 days outstanding, or I should say, sorry, 14 days overdue, and it goes out to the person's boss's boss to say it's now 14 days overdue. So that's that escalation process. You also need to note there needs to be the name of a message, the email message in here. There's no email message in there, so even if you did want that to go out, that will not go out at that point. And this number 5 just notifies or just highlights how many steps there are in the whole email process. So there's number 1 is the notify days, so that's where we notified the person straight away that this is due in 10 days, 11 days, whatever it was. Then we remind the person, that's step 2. Then there's a due on the due date, that's step 3. Then 7 days after the due date is step 4, and then another 7 days after that again, or 14 days after the due date, that's step 5. Now you can change that. That can go to 9 if so desired. If you've got a very deep organizational chart. But we don't want to inundate people with emails as well, because we're all inundated all the time anyhow. So that's a little bit of an overview. There's a fair lot to take in very quickly, and that's something that I can go into a lot more depth in a different training session altogether just on that. And even after seeing it, once or twice, it does take a bit to sink in. But the main emphasis is, and let me close that screen, and I'll just bring up this window again. The main emphasis is everything centers around this next date. So the first step populates that date, but after saying that, you can change that, but then all the notify and remind and due dates is all around that particular date. And the person that you put in, or people that you put into that who to do, they're the people that are going to be notified, and their bosses are also going to be notified, and their boss's boss are also notified. So those two fields are very important in this particular window, because it starts everything going. All right, I know that was a fair lot to take in, fair lot of talking from my perspective. I'll just open it to any questions, if that might help, just to finish it off now, if you like. Any particular questions anyone would like to ask?
Peter, two people spoke at the same time. Hello?
Yeah, so
Yes, hello, I'm here.
Yep. Is that you,
Okay,
Mary?
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm unmuted now, thank you.
Oh, great, okay. Now, someone was asking a question there. Sorry, I overtalked you.
Yeah, no, sorry, this is Salma from Adelaide. How are you?
Oh, hi.
That's good. I started a bit late because we had a problem with the system.
Okay.
All the details will be in after Christmas if I need to go back and...
Yes. I'll
Okay.
notify everyone that we have posted it and they are available.
Yes.
I don't have a particular date, because everyone's
That's
getting
okay.
the sort of Christmas mode now, so no one wants to make any commitments.
Sure.
But
Yes.
yeah, they will be posted after Christmas.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. I was a bit lost at the beginning and until I got it back, so
Okay.
yeah, so I need it from the beginning.
And that's the beauty of that flexibility. I find it fantastic. You can just play 5 minutes at a time and just, fast forward and go to a particular area and just look at that
Yes.
particular area. It really is quite powerful.
No, it's really good fun. It's really good fun to learn and experience that. But like you needed, I needed more to see the session from the beginning. And,
Okay.
what you did in the first 10 minutes.
And this,
Yeah.
I'm not too sure you were here on the first session, were you? But this is a
Yes, I was.
Oh, you were. Okay, great.
Yeah, no, I was
Okay.
on the first one, and I'm going to be on everyone. But we've been having problems signing into the meeting, so that's why today took a bit longer.
Oh, okay.
But we worked it out at the end.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes different firewalls get in the way, different security settings get in the way of
Yeah,
allowing
probably,
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
But now you got it
Yeah,
sorted.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes. Yes,
Thanks.
thank you very much. No worries.
Peter, with the scheduling, if we set up where you set an issue profile to have 3 years and then we import all our documents, will that take the 3 years or we have to do each document separately? Because in your email it said only for new documents.
Yes, it's only for documents going from this step on. It's not for existing documents. It doesn't then go and add a schedule to all the different existing documents. What it does is when you create it, it goes and searches, okay, are there any special instructions about this record or about this particular document? And then it looks for it and it says, oh, yep, there's a particular schedule. I want to make sure I generate an auto schedule on that, yes.
So will it take, if we import all our documents, will it take the auto schedule?
Or when you import all your documents? That's a good question, Justine. I don't think so. Let me check up on that. You ask the best questions, Justine. Catching me out all the time. Importing documents. All right. Let me qualify that, Justine, and I will get back to you on that one. All right, if there's no more questions,
Peter, just one from me,
Oh, yes.
Lorraine.
Yep.
Is this part of a series of training sessions? This is the first time I've joined in.
Okay.
Are you doing more?
We are, yes. Yeah, this will continue in the new year. Greg's plan was to have the free process up until the end of January. And then what we're getting is a lot of feedback on very customized processes. So the screen that you're seeing is not obviously exactly the same as your screen. A lot of people are finding that they want to see their screen and talk about their particular instances. So that's the feedback we're getting is, particular customized sessions, and that's when that's something to talk to Greg about on organising that. But there will be these continuing for all of January, and they will be recorded and freely accessible. But after the end of January, then it's still going to be decided on what happens from then.
So when will the next one be? Will I be notified?
You certainly will be, Lorraine. We're back on the 10th of January, which is the Monday. So I'd suggest it be the 17th will be the first one in January, 17th of January.
Okay, the only thing I need to check out from today really is this lib folder of yours.
Yes.
I'm not aware that I've got a folder like this.
Okay.
I thought that we lost all previous versions because I've never been able to find any.
Okay, it should be. Yeah, it should be in the lib folder. There's certainly a lib folder that's in the background. If you go into your Windows directory, I'm not too sure exactly.
I'll go and search for that. I wasn't aware you had one.
It's sitting in with the import folder and the meth folder, the template folder. They're all a combination of folders all in the background there. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Well,
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lorraine. I'd just like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and have a fun and safe one to everyone.
Thanks, Philip.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you in the new year.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.